How often do we do things without thinking about the future interruptions they create? I call these boomerangs. The text messages we send, the voicemails we leave, the things where we can expect a response to come back at us, often at a time when it will interrupt us. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how not to throw boomerangs, and if you do need to throw boomerangs, how and when to send them. So let's talk about what a boomerang is. A boomerang is an action that you take where you throw something out into the world and you reasonably expect it to come back at you. So if you send out a text, someone will probably respond to that text. If you send an email, someone will reply to that email. If you leave a voicemail, someone will call you back. These are boomerangs that we throw out into the world that come back at us. And they may not come back at us at the optimal time. We may be in a period of deep work or at a time where we can't necessarily process, we can't catch those boomerangs. So where I see this often happen is you want to get into a period of deep work, but you want to clear off your plate first. So you quickly go and reply to a bunch of emails, process some of those chats, call a couple of people, leave the voicemails, so you can dive into your deep work feeling like you accomplished something. But what you've just done is you just set yourself up to have interruptions. You've just thrown a bunch of boomerangs out into the world that are going to come back at you. In this scenario, it's much better to schedule and throw your boomerangs after your deep work rather than before. Now, I know some of you will have notifications turned off, but even then, some will slip through. Or we will get distracted and we decide to check our email inbox, or we try to check the chat to see if there's a response. So we proactively distract ourselves. Either way, the easy way around this is just not send the boomerang out into the world to begin with. So what if you really do need to throw a boomerang? You really need to clear this off your plate before you dive into your uninterruptible work. Well, you can set the expectation for a response. So when you send out that email or send out that chat, you can say, I'm going into a deep work thing, I'll be able to reply to you after that. Or I'll reply to you this evening, or I'll reply to you tomorrow. Set the expectation that if they respond immediately, they won't get an immediate response to that. Likewise, if you leave a voicemail, you can say, these are the hours when I'll be available for a callback. That allows you to some degree, control when that boomerang comes back to you. So second, if a boomerang does come back to you, and it's an important boomerang to catch, perhaps an email from a VIP customer, use the 3 A's: acknowledge, ask, and answer. So when the email comes in, first acknowledge, saying, hey, I got your email, just want to let you know. Then ask, what is the priority on this? When do you need a response by? Let the customer tell you what the priority is, so that way you don't assume that they need an immediate response. Oftentimes you'll find that customers and clients don't need an immediate response, and you are setting that expectation on yourself. So send that right away. And in that email, you can also set the expectation saying, I'll be available to answer this in more depth in this evening, tomorrow, whatever the time frame is, when you'll be available to process that in more depth. So the final is, of course, answer, which is then you send a second email that answers in more depth, that actually answers their question. And you do this based upon the priority of the email and relative to the other priorities you have. So this acknowledge, ask, answer framework lets you handle incoming queries or responses in an appropriate fashion. Finally, it's not an all or nothing scenario. It's not, do I catch the boomerang or don't I? You can actually put the boomerang, say, into slow motion. I'm stretching the metaphor a little bit here. But if you get an email from a VIP customer and you find out that this is an important email to respond to, you don't have to drop everything and switch over to that immediately. Take time to actually save your place. Write down where you're at. Take 5 or 10 minutes to wrap up and then switch. It's very rare where those 5 or 10 minutes are going to make the difference. If they really do, yeah, certainly drop everything. But most of the time what you can do is say, I'm going to take 5 minutes to wrap up, 10 minutes to wrap up, and then I'll handle this interruption. And same thing if someone comes into your office and interrupts you, you can say, Can I come over to your desk in 5 minutes? I just need to wrap this up. So that's another way to handle a boomerang. The bottom line is we often create the conditions for our own interruptions by doing things, by sending boomerangs out into the world at inopportune times. So this isn't to say that you should never throw out boomerangs, you should never reply to an email, obviously not, right? It's just to bring mindfulness into when you do it to make sure that it works within your workflow. I hope this technique is valuable for you. If you have any questions or ways to use this technique differently, please leave it in the comments below. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see future videos like this, please subscribe to the Mindful Productivity channel. Thank you very much and have a productive day.